Hey everybody, QnA here, and we're going to put a head together. So I got my Bentley guide on the left and my entire head assembly up in front with some extra goodies. I'll be showing you along the way the process, following the Bentley guide word for word, because that's the way you do it correctly. So stay tuned everybody, because QnA's garage is live, and let's have some fun. Hey everybody, I'm trying to move the camera back, get some more footage here. There we go. Hopefully that works. I'm gonna get you set up on my phone. That way I can talk to you guys while I'm working, but hi. Evening everybody. How's it going? So let's get to work. So you'll see here, this is my head, and I got some assembly lube here. And what I'm going to do with the assembly lube and the head on top of that is that we're going to kind of lube up all the valves. Actually not the valves, but the lifters. So we're going to be doing all that. So we're going to do all that, first cleaning and then lubing up the lifters, because the head's already assembled internally. We don't need to touch any of that. We just need to get everything lubricated, so when you guys do your initial start, it's not a dry start, it's a nice lubricated one. And for the question about the cams, I'm using 100% stock cams. I'm not going to be doing anything aftermarket. Not until the motor is all set and done, and then I'll swap out the cams later. But you see the cams right here. These are 100% stock, nothing special. So let's get to work. And thanks, man. I'm kind of the man. I know I'm a male per se, you know. I do have a wiener and whatnot, and I like women, so yeah. So let's get to work. I'm not going to be up really late tonight because I got to go hiking in the morning. So I'm going to do the best I can with the amount of time I have. But I already poured some assembly lube. I use Lucas Assembly high performance lube because it has zinc in it. Works really good. Especially when you, like I said, when I was talking about dry starts. Dry starts are like everybody's nightmare, especially on a build, on something fresh. Just because it's not very safe to run a car without any type of lubrication or pre-lubrication. It's very dangerous. Because you can damage the engine pretty gnarly like. So, and just so everybody knows, this is actually the head that that survived the fire. This is the only piece that survived, like on the block portion externally from the fire. So I'm pretty impressed that this survived. For a turbo rebuild, that's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to recommend a turbo rebuild, just because I've never done it myself or had anybody do it, so I don't know who to suggest for you. Unfortunately, that's kind of new grounds for me, so I can't really suggest anything for you. I'm sorry, man. My voice is a little hoarse. Probably because I sang a lot of hip-hop songs on the way back from a cool car show today. So if you guys are on my Instagram or don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, because we did a really cool little shindig today down in Hemet, California, and I'm going to be posting a lot of it. I got a new video coming for the show. Really good friends of mine put it on. Really, really chill. So, thanks, man. I definitely appreciate it, Nemesis. I would love to meet all my subscribers and viewers live. I like meeting people, so it's like one of my favorite things to do. It's just hanging out and meeting new people. I love just hanging out with people. It's just, oh man, I gotta pull that lifter right out. No, stay in there. There you go. You know, it's one of my favorite things to do. It's just to meet new people and hang out and just have fun, man. Thank you, Kataya. Thank you for the positive remark. I always love, having positive vibes and thank yous thrown at me. I'm always very grateful for that. I saw something on here. The best vacuum line that most people use is the one off the fuel regulator. If you do my smog system delete, like my DIY that I have for a smog delete, it gives you an extra line, so you can use that one as a proprietary boost gauge if you want one dedicated just strictly for boost. So it's up to you. I will be making a new DIY for a lot of new stuff, but I'm going to be doing it live, so you got to stay tuned for that, man. If you guys want to learn some really cool stuff that's coming up, like, because once this head and engine's all put together and donezo, we're going to be doing some pretty cool, fun stuff. So you got to stay, you guys got to pay attention. Uh-oh, that didn't go in friendly. Like, let's see here. Oh, okay, no more questions. Ah, pulled another freaking. Come on, there we go. Now, some of these are not being very friendly coming in and out. You're going to have to, like, fight with them a little bit, but you'll be okay. Sometimes they get stuck in there since they've been sitting for a while. This is why you need to get some assembly lube and get it all in there. It's really gross feeling, like super lubey and whatnot, but it's got to get done, you know? Let's see. Yes, the line that sits right in front of the fuel regulator, you'll see it. It goes, if you see the fuel, the intake manifold, and it goes over and under, then underneath the manifold, you can tee off of that, and then there's another one underneath that that goes to your combi valve or your diverter valve setup or your smog equipment, depending on how you have it set up. You can either tee off of that, or if you, like I said, if you did the smog delete DIY, then you can use a second vacuum line underneath there, and then that'll solve that problem. Whoa. Well, that sucks. So, on the lifters, per machine shop, just so you know, my machine shop, this is what they recommended on my lifters. On the intake side, which is this side right here, the small lifters. The middle lifter is the one that gets worn the most out of any lifter on this entire head. So if you're going to rebuild your head pretty much, the machine shop highly suggests just replacing those if all the other ones are in really, really good condition. If they have no wear marks or no divots is what we call it. When I mean divots, right here in the middle, the lifter will be worn so much that you can actually feel it. And if you can feel that, that means you're due to replace those lifters, because they're worn out. You know, you gotta replace worn equipment. You know. So I have one lifter that's actually kind of being an ass here, and it's stuck. So I gotta figure out what to do to get that sucker out. There we go. Haha. Got that biatch out. Like I was saying before, lube them up all nice and purty like. See that right there? Cover them with all the new assembly lube. Just finger that bad boy, you know? Don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. And once you got that all done, kind of, if it doesn't want to go in easy, finger it a little bit on the side of here. And it should just go in there now, nice and all pretty like. They should have like a little bit, no play. They should be able to go in and out with no problems. If you're having problems, well, it might be time to replace all your lifters. Back to work. Let's see, got another question here. Hi, I need an email address. Yes, and I want to ask you something. Thanks. Alan, my email address is friendsoffast@outlook.com. All one word. For Kataya, where do you guys buy quality lug bolts without breaking the bank? I have super rusty ones right now. Ha! Easy. Go to the junkyard. Get some OEM freaking lug bolts. 9 out of 10 times, you'll find a really nice set, not rusty, at the yard. There we go. If you don't find any good ones at the junkyard, go to a wheel and tire shop. A lot of little mom and pop wheel tire shops, you could probably spend about 20 to 40 bucks for a set of lug nuts, and you know, for a good setup. If you're running spacers, so you want to get extended lugs, use ECS tuning or Euro tuning, URO tuning. I love them. They have really good stuff, and they're not very expensive, pretty affordable, you know. Got another jammed one there. I gotta figure that one out in a little bit. Yeah, you're welcome. Not a problem, man. Or girl. I don't know if you're a guy or a girl, so you're welcome though, either way. You guys have any other questions, man? Feel free to ask. This is a slow process, so this is the time to ask me stuff while I'm working, because we're going to get to the part where we got to assemble, put together the chain, the tensioner, and everything else. So right now is perfect time because I'm going to start concentrating and not be able to answer your guys' question while I'm working. Too bad Ray couldn't meet us up. He's been a little busy lately. You know, sucks. You know, but everybody's got lives, you know. I can't have them dedicate themselves to like something that where I don't make any money or they don't make any money. You know, they got to get their lives going too. But Ray's the homie. Ooh, that's a good question. How do you know if the timing belt needs to be replaced? Well, there's a lot of ways you can tell. Number one, just check the condition of the belt itself. Take the timing cover off on the very top, on the top of the valve cover. Pop that sucker off. And kind of grab the belt and twist it towards you. Be careful not to pop off the belt because it can pop off depending if the condition or the age of the belt. And look at it. See if there's any cracks, missing teeth, because oh my god. I've seen not new belts but very young belts with missing teeth. So it can happen. But it's a good way to, you know, just inspect it. But good question. Oh, how to replace the chain tensioner. Enzo, I'm going to be doing that live right here, so pay attention. Nemesis. Wait, hold on. I'm going to finish Kataya's question. So, you bought the car with an I'm sorry. There isn't really a sign or symptom. There is one symptom, maybe a couple actually. Let me correct myself. But before I go further on that one, for Kataya's last question, if you don't know the history of the car and you're just unsure of the age of the belt and everything, just do yourself the favor and replace everything. Timing belt, timing tensioner, timing idler pulley, and the water pump. That's all part of your timing. Just do it. Just replace it if you're unsure. Just because you don't know what's been done or how cheap the parts were installed, you'd be surprised how many people put China crap in their cars and, you know, think that's like, oh, I'm buying a deal and it's going to be reliable. Hell to the no. Just hell to the no. You got to buy OEM or, you know, OEM equivalent, which are like manufacturers that actually sell to the dealers. And that's kind of easy to find out. I'll tell you guys that later. So that's for that for you, Kataya. If you're for Nemesis, I'm going down the line, okay? For Nemesis question, if the timing went off a notch, would it, you know, make the car smoke? Nope. It will not make the car smoke, unfortunately. It will make the car sputter, drive like total crap. Another Nemesis, it'll tick loud, like metal on metal ticking, not injector tick. Because Mark IVs, actually Volkswagens in general, have a really loud injector tick. So nothing like that. It's going to be like a loud metal on metal hitting. So you'll know if you jump the tooth. The car just runs like total crap. It misfires pretty often. Little things like that. That's how you know. So if your car is smoking, Nemesis, and all that, you might have bad seals on the turbo itself. So it might be time to either replace the turbo or have it rebuilt. But if it's blowing blue smoke or really white smoke, like say when you're boosting, or like say when you turn the car off and you turn it back on and it smokes, you might actually have a bad head gasket because it's probably leaking water into the exhaust. There's a couple of tests you can do to find that out. You can get yourself like a compression tester, a leak down tester, and test everything to see if there's actually, a bad head gasket. So those are little things you gotta pay attention to. Now to go for J dot star 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 N, are there signs of a pretty much a failing timing belt? There are. Number one, the water pump. On the water pump, there's a thing on the water pump called a weeping hole. When those water pumps start to fail, they like to leak coolant. Just seep it, little bit. And the way that you know if it's leaking from there, go underneath the car and then trace. If you have the appropriate coolant in your car, G12, it will leave a long pink and white streak where it's leaking from. If it's leaking from like underneath the timing cover from there, that's how you know you have a failing water pump. Another one is your pulley or your tensioner failing. The way you can tell that's failing, your pulleys will be making a loud noise or slapping. They'll sound like something slapping inside there. That means you're losing the tension. For Fascinate 12, your question about Franken turbos, yes, they are good turbos. The thing that sucks about Franken turbos, and I quote, and anybody from Doug from Franken Turbo, I love you guys, but you guys weren't very much help. If you see this video, you weren't very much help when I needed your help. The hardware they provide you and the oil feed line that they provide you are sheer garbage. They always break, or they start to leak, or they have weird problems. The bolts on the top of the manifold like to back out like crazy. So what I suggest to do is if you do get a Franken Turbo set up, get the whole kit, but then go online on eBay or Amazon, eBay, and order the Audi TT225 oil feed line, because that will prevent you from bending or breaking the line. I went that route. And then get the lower brace bracket for the turbo as well, from the same car, from the Audi TT225 model, not the basic model, TT225, because they use that same KO4 setup. Okay, hopefully that answers your question. Ah, cool. Just stick with that. Don't waste your money on the Franken Turbo. You're going to be getting a couple extra horsepower out of it. Nothing crazy. Ugh. Okay, that one. Got one lifter that's stuck and it's giving me a pain in the ass. Ooh, okay. For Kataya, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but you know what? They're fucking reliable. I cannot get an eBay, Amazon downpipe, 3-inch downpipe, get it welded. They work. They're really reliable. Just inspect the welds on them. Or the exhaust shop, have them look at it. If they look kind of flimsy, just have them re-weld them. They're freaking bulletproof after that. I had my eBay downpipe for like $80. I've had it for almost 5 years. Not a single problem with it. So just give me a heads up. For Enzo, personally, I have the new speed short throw shifter. Not the one that goes in the car, but the actual pendulum. It gives you about 30% shorter shift. I love that. Works really well. I don't like the ones that go inside. They make the shifter just a bit too short. So it's kind of hard to figure out your gears when you're driving, especially if you're going to be driving hard. I like the pendulum one. And what I do inside the cockpit, the stock shifter shaft, I cut it about an inch and a half off the top. And that way I actually have a little bit shorter arm inside the actual, inside the car. Feels really good. I love it. It's rock solid. I always recommend it. Once you do that, I highly recommend to get the solid bushings, the solid metal bushings for your shifter tower. Those are the 3 bushings that sit around on top. Really, really good stuff. I recommend that for you. And for Kataya, yeah, the recommendation, get an eBay downpipe. Like I said, I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. Just get the eBay downpipe. You'll be fine with that. Just have it inspected. That's all. Don't worry about the rest. If you get shit from people, just flip them off. Tell them suck a cock. They work really well. There's a lot of things, though, I don't recommend to get from eBay or China. There's a lot of things. So if you guys have any more questions, ask me. I'll tell you. Because I've seen a lot. I've been around, guys. Frank, from that intercooler, I mean, everybody likes the Godspeed one. It's a China cooler. They work pretty well. You know, I had one for many years on my first Mark IV without a single hiccup. The only hiccup I had with it, because the thing I don't like about the crappy China one, no, you can buy what they call lithium grease. You can put some of that on there, but you don't need to touch that. Don't mess around with it that much. Lithium grease is fine. That stuff sticks, but it doesn't create a greasy residue. It allows the cable to shift smoother, but not much. Don't do very much to that. But front mount intercooler, just use the get anything from eBay. But when you do buy anything from eBay for your car, remember you're going to need to buy a map sensor bung, because most of them won't come with it. And you're also going to need to take it to a welding shop to have them weld on the diverter valve and the N75 valve bungs on the side by the charge pipe to get those working. So your $200, $300 intercooler will end up turning around about $400, just FYI. It's a pain, but that's the only way you're going to get around that. Just to give you guys a heads up. Everybody thinks, you know, oh, they buy a $200 cooler and we're done. Nope. There's a lot more to that. Unless your car didn't use a map sensor, then you'd be golden. But it does, so you can't. You need to get it put in. This little freaking lifter's being a bitch. My last one, and that's the one that's going to give me a problem. You're welcome, man. I hope hopefully the advice helps you out. Yeah, I live here in California, so all I use is 530. I don't use any other weight all year long. We don't have a winter, per se. I mean, it gets cold, 50 degrees, if you guys consider that cold. I don't consider it cold, but if you're originally from California, it's freezing. Yeah, the factory recommended weight is always the best weight to use. Just because that's what they recommend. And what's funny, the factory oil brand is Castrol, full synthetic. Just so you guys know. If you guys ever want to be very specific, Castrol, full synthetic, 530 European formula is the best oil you can use for your Mark IV or any Volkswagen that's 1.0 turbocharged in general. Oh my God, this is going to be really frustrating. Let's see if I get this sucker dislodged a little bit. See if that helped. Yeah, got that sucker out. The oil drain plug grommet, or the washer that's inside there, the copper one, depending on which oil drain plug you get, you can reuse them a couple times, but that's it. I recommend buy them in bulk. ECS Tuning or Euro Tuning sells them in bulk. You can buy a little set of like 5 or 10 of them. They last a pretty long time. So that's highly recommended, just FYI. Alright, all the lifters are done. So now, the next part of the job is the tensioner, and the chain, and the cams. They all come together as one piece. So let me show you guys the tensioner first, okay? This is my box of shit. When I was talking to you guys about water pumps, let me show you guys this before I forget. So this is a metal water pump. Remember I was telling you guys about a symptom where if you have like a bad water pump and you want to know how it's bad, this is one sign right here. If you see this right here on the water pump right there at the top, that's the weeping hole. When this fails, pretty much it will leak coolant, and it will leak it and pour it out just right here down below, and you'll notice it'll leave like a little trail. Just like I said, it'll weep it and make it all tiny, very thin. You'll know. Just a good way to see, so you guys know that. Alright, so this is the new chain, the chain. These are my main bearings. Aha. So this is the cam chain tensioner, guys. If you guys ever seen this, brand spanking new, comes with a brand new VVTi or VVT. I don't know. They're Volkswagen's VTEC. It also comes with the tool that actually compresses the tension on this guy. And one good way to know that these are failing, this right here will have literally a groove where the chain has dug into it pretty much for a while. So just so you guys know. So the way that this one installs, it goes on the back of the head, not the front. And the way that you know that the back of the head is where it's supposed to be, this is the water jacket here. and this is where your combi valve goes. So this valve, tensioner sits right here. There's a gasket that sits right underneath this, and I'll get that right now in just a moment. But that's exactly where it sits, so you know where to start. You get your chain out, okay? Wrap your chain around this. Just leave it in here for the moment. Don't move it around, it just needs to sit there. We gotta get the gasket for that. And here it is right here. So the way that the gasket works, this is the gasket right here for the cam chain tensioner. It sits literally right here, just like that, on top of the head. There's another gasket that sits, there's another seal that sits underneath that, and this is what we call the half moon seal. And you can see why it's called a half moon seal. It's literally half a moon. So before you put this on there, this little sucker sits right here. And make sure you clean out all the RTV that's in there, if you see any. So a lot of people like to put RTV inside these wedges. It's okay to do that, but if you do so, you're going to put it only on the edge of the actual gasket, like right there. Because what happens when you cram a bunch of RTV in here, the gasket won't do its job. And then you end up not having a good sealing gasket. Does that make sense? So you always got to be careful when you do that. I think this one is over here. Oh, I can't remember now. Let me look at my book. See here. This is why you guys have to have a book. Yep, I was right the first time. Alright. That goes there. This sucker goes here like that. So that all sits there like that. And now you got to put in your cams. Now you're like, oh, Al, you mixed up your cams. Where does this go? Well, it's easy. One of them has actually a hole And the other one does as well, but it doesn't do anything really. So one is meant for the actual cam gear, and one is actually meant for nothing. It just spins there. So this one right here, you also notice it's got 3 lobes, 3 lobes, 3 lobes. It's another sign that you know this is the intake cam. So what you do, you set your cam in here really quick, just to set it in there. You're not going to actually install it yet. And what you want to do is pay attention to how it sits in there, because it goes in one way. Same with the exhaust cam. Now I do this every single time because there's a thing you need to do prior to installing the tensioner, and it's your teeth. Okay? On the teeth of every single cam and on the chain, there's a specific way to do this. For Kataya, for your motor mounts, if they're stock motor mounts, number one, if you rev, yes, the engine should move. Stock motor mounts are horrible. They move too much, but because of that, it absorbs a lot of vibration, so your car doesn't feel the vibration. It's all for comfort. Upgraded motor mounts, aka VF Engineering mounts right here. These guys are extremely stiff in comparison to stock. These will absorb all the vibration to the chassis versus to the motor, so your whole car shakes. 2 things that I like about that. Number one, instead of paying attention to your tachometer for shifting, now you feel it. Now you know when to shift because you can feel your vibration, your engine revving to where you want to shift. And once you understand the sensation of the revving, then you actually can shift. That's one of my favorite features about going to stiff mounts. Number 2, the other benefit of going to stiff mounts, if you ever want to do racing or quarter mile or 1/8 mile runs, this will allow you to put more power to the ground versus the engine of twisting more and flexing and making your car hop when you're doing a launch. So those are a couple of things you can know, but it is normal for the engine to move. A lot of people, what they do, if they can't fork out the $400 or $500 for a VF mount, these are ECS tuning dog bone mounts. This will stop pretty much the forward and back motion of the engine, make it super stiff. It's a great basic upgrade for anybody. This, you pretty much remove what you have stock and install these. This is like a $40, $50 bushing set, and it takes hand tools to install it. Super easy, awesome upgrade. So now that I have the cams put in, we're going to wrap them with a chain. And there's a catch. It's going to be kind of hard to show you, so my camera kind of is not the best camera for this stuff, but from here to here, 16 links, okay? And what I mean by links, each one of these little barrels right here is considered a link. So you want to go count, put your finger on that, and that counts as 1. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So from here to here, 16 links. See that? Now, there is a catch. Most people who install these cams, one link is offset to the right, the other link is perfectly centered. And this is per the Bentley manual. Okay? So on the Bentley manual, we're going to flip the header around. That way we know. I got to copy the Bentley manual imaging, that way I know which way I'm going. So on my Bentley manual, this one, the exhaust side is cam A, the intake side is cam B. On cam A, and I'll show you guys this, that way you guys can see. So exhaust cam, hopefully you guys can see that. See where my fingernail's at? There's a hole. That hole straight up, you'll see that the tooth isn't 100% centered. That's where the first roller goes in between that tooth. So that's roller number 1, or link number 1. Okay? So you grab your chain, and you do that. And you got to remember where that's at. Okay? And it wants it offset to the right, or to the left, when you're looking at the head in this direction. So we know now that that's there. So we're going to count 16 rollers. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This is where it gets all freaky deaky, because you need 2 people to do this. It's hard to do it with 1 person. I'm doing my best. I have all the teeth jacked up now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in here and then adjust accordingly. Okay, so let's assume so here we are. So right here is 1. We got to count 16, and if you guys are watching this, I'm going left to right. So 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I'm super off. Okay, so now I have my 1 here and my 16 here. So now I'm actually where I'm supposed to be. This is hard to show you guys. I know it sucks, but you'll notice on cam A, the notch that I showed you up close has to be offset to the left. Cam B has to be perfectly centered. Okay? I know it's kind of weird, but that's how it's supposed to be. And this shit sucks, believe me. Because you gotta cram the cam tensioner in between all this. So what we gotta do, because now that the chains are on here, they don't go anywhere. You can't take it off. So you can do this. I'm going to take the half moon seal and the gasket out just to be safe. So now that I have this going, so you'll see here, like I was telling you, per the Bentley guide, I'm following the Bentley manual, so I'm repeating myself often just because this is a very, very precise thing you got to do, because if you mess up by 1 tooth, you can bend a valve and that's the end of your head. You got to do it all over again. So give me a break, alright guys? Oh man, broken Recaro backseat. No, never done that before. Have fun with that. So we got 1, 2, 3. Number 16 should be in the middle. Which it is. Okay. So now that I got the cams in, the tensioner, see if you guys can pull. Maybe if I pull it between the middle. This is kind of the shitty part of the DIY, or the live DIY, because you need 2 people to do this, to do it right. My wife isn't feeling good today, so I'm not going to bug her. If all of it succeeds, push down on the cams a little bit. Now, I'm going to take you guys off the tripod here so you guys can see what's going on. This will work better for you guys. I'll wait till you guys can catch up. Alright, so you see here on my right finger, this is cam B, this is cam A. You'll notice that cam A is offset to the left by about 1 tooth. Cam A is offset pretty much to the middle. Well, it's not all the way down, but it's set to the middle pretty much. And this one should be set off to the right, just like that. That's the perfect way of doing it if you guys are doing cams. Okay? You're welcome. You're welcome for the help, Kataya. So, and the reason why I'm telling you guys how to do this way, because I have a Bentley manual right here. And you'll see here in the picture, cam A, which is exhaust, cam B is intake. And you'll see the tooth is right here. I mean the little notch here and the little pin here. That's your 16 from there to there. Okay? So now you guys see that. This is all done. That's set right there where it needs to be. So now time to get the gasket put back on. Put you guys back on the tripod. And get back to work. Like I said, good night again, Kataya. Hopefully we see you again or meet you guys, see you back on here again soon. So now that I had that done, I'm going to flip the head back around and get the half moon and the gasket back on. Whew, that sucker's heavy. Now, since you can actually lift this whole thing up and put it back down, no big deal. Just put it in by hand. Remember, the half moon seal goes in. You know what? Oh, no. I'm tripping. I'm always tripping. You put this gasket here. Now there's these little guide pins right here that if you don't get it right, it will fall and not line up 100%. So So there's 3 bolts that go to this. Always do everything by hand. If you can't put them in by hand, then there's something wrong. Pretty much. Okay, so now that I have those put in, I'm not going to torque these down until everything's back on, and then we'll put everything in back on by hand, and then torque everything down to spec. Now, these cam caps are from this head. They are married to this head. They cannot be switched around to other heads because they wear specifically. Same goes for the cams. The cams can't be switched from one head to another because they're worn specifically to a head or to the cam caps. Whenever you upgrade the cam caps, or not cam caps, whenever you upgrade cams, they're brand new, they're not worn any differently, so you're allowed to reuse your cam caps. You can't replace them. Just remember that because they are married to their own head. You cannot swap them around. People do it, shit happens. Glow Gamer, what's going on, Glow Gamer? Welcome to the live video for building a head. Swapping this around now. So now that we have, like I said, installed the new chain, the new cam tensioner, right now it's safe that you can actually dump a little bit of assembly lube on the chain itself. Remember, we want to prevent as much as we can any dry starts because they are the most dangerous things you can do to any car in general is a bad start. So just lube up every lobe on the cam. Every little groove here will be great. Anything with the shiny surface pretty much should have lubrication on it, assembly lube, oil, whatever you want to put in here. If you're like me, who's going to take his sweet time putting everything together, assembly lube is the best way to put it together with because it stays on here. It doesn't run. It doesn't run a lot. It stays where it needs to stay. Doesn't go anywhere. So not like oil, very runny. I am using Lucas High Performance Assembly Lube, recommended by a lot of shops, so I went with what people recommend me, you know. This is my second actual 1.8T build, so I want to make sure this is done right. I want to get some music going in a little bit. Since I can't play any copyright music, we're going to be listening to a lot of other kind of stuff. It'll be neat. I like to listen to weird stuff sometimes. Have a little fun, change it up, you know. Okay, you'll notice that I didn't put any lubrication on the end of the cams because that's where your cam seals are going to go, and we'll get to that at the end. So I accidentally got some lube on here. Make sure you take that off of there. Do not put lubrication on the end of the cam caps. Do not put lubrication on the inside of the cams. Of these seals because your car won't seal oil and you're going to end up with a leaky car. Okay? So remember that. Dry that all off when you're done. So now that we have everything lubed up and ready to go, we have cam caps. Yay! Now these cam caps, my machine shop didn't do me the favor of putting them back in order. So now I gotta figure out what goes where. So they are numbered. So here's a number 2, here's a number 4, number 3, and number 5. Let's see here. This is like the first one because it goes to this one right here. No. No. Oh, right, it goes this way. Just like that. No, I'm sorry. This one goes over here. These have a weird pattern to them, so the exhaust side, or I'm sorry, intake side uses the 4 pattern ones. The exhaust side uses the single ones, and they're also numbered, so we got to make sure we get them all in the right order. And then there's this big sucker, which I gotta clean up. Unfortunately, this one's like pretty beat up. And this one pretty much goes this way. So that's the order. So this big cap goes this way. This weird funky little one with the hole in it goes this way. And then they have an arrow that points to that direction. So we're going to use the Bentley manual first and follow those directions. So cap number 2 starts by the cam chain tensioner right here. So cap number 1 was this funky hole one, and then cap number 2 is this one, and it trying to figure out which direction it goes in, though. Well, the numbers are facing down, so technically this way. Number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and then the weird one, which doesn't belong anywhere over here. Please don't tell me I have a spare, because I'm going to be really pissed off if I have a spare. No, this is a different number. This one should belong to here. Correct. Now, same thing, number 2 starts over here, number 3, number 4, and last but number 5. Now, to verify that we have everything in the right order, I'm going to Google it and make sure that the cams are pretty much in the right spot. You know what? The Bentley tells you one thing, but you're unsure because it doesn't show you the notches and which way the direction goes. So I want to play it safe, so I'm going to do it safe. I'm going to look up a Google image of the actual head itself to make sure it's, I placed everything in the right direction. Because you never know, man. You can mess things up pretty bad if you mess up. All right. So what I'm going to do, get on the Googles, yeah, and then we look up the head. So AWP 1.8T head. Go to images. No, they're crappy pictures. Here we go. Here we go. So, to be safe, so the notches, so these little notches here, I'll pull one out just so you guys can see what I mean. This little notch here, right here, on the cam cap, on the exhaust side, is pointing towards the actual cam gear. So remember that. And they go in the order they come in. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the big piece. And then for the cam, for the intake side of the cam, they are pointing away from here. So if I'm looking at it this way, they're on here correctly. So the book is correct. Make sure all the numbers are facing this way. So in other words, you can see the numbers straight here across. And again, it goes from 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. And then over here, the ones with the round circles on them, they only go in one direction. If you pop them in the wrong way, they don't go in correctly because the letters are upside down. So we know now that that's incorrect. But that is it. Oh yeah, oh yeah, we did it. Lo hicimos, lo hicimos. All right, guys. So that's that part right there. I'm just double checking now. Yep, that's correct. Oh, turned you guys off. Okay. So now all you gotta do is tighten these all down by hand. Remember we talked about that earlier. Always do it by hand. If for any reason you can't put these down by hand, don't do it. Back out, try it again. These all should be going in very, very easily by hand. You can get about 5 or 6 turns out of them. That means they're in there nice. They're not cross-threading. Because cross-thread on something this important, you're going to lead to severe damage and no fun. And we're all about fun here at Pinchow's Garage. You know, we want to have fun. Not build a big turbo 1.8T just to look at it. Dog nugget. We're here to have fun. The last caps I'm not going to put on because they're pretty dirty. So I'm going to get a wire brush and clean the top of this off really nicely. Because this one also requires RTV on this side. I'll explain that later. Alright, so I got most of them all down by hand. Not very far. I might have to clean some out. They're going a little rough, but we'll fix that in a little bit. But that's all done for the head. And what's dope about doing this, once everything's tightened down, it'll automatically line up to where it's supposed to be, and you're done. You're done. You just put your seals on, you put your cam gear on, torque it down, spec, and the head is done. It doesn't need to be timed or anything. It already is timed by the 16 teeth that you just did on top of here. It's awesome. I love it. So that's done. So the next thing is, on this guy right here, we're going to take this one off. And this is the one I want to show you guys. This is the one that needs a little bit of love when you install this one. On this one, you'll see there's a little channel here, a little channel there and there. You need to install, or not install, but put in some RTV. And you put RTV here, and on the outside of this, like a really, really thin layer here, here, and here. So those three spots. That is it. And I'm talking about super thin layer of RTV, because you got to prevent that passage from leaking. This little passage right here. So we want to put RTV on the outside of that, really nice and clean. Clean this little gutter out inside here. That's going to help you a lot. So remember that. Very, very vital for your DIY, for your project here. If you have time, you can pop on your intake manifold gasket, your exhaust gasket. Let's see what else is here. I mean, that's pretty much it. The valve cover goes on, but we're going to do all that last because there's a little bit of extra little things we need to get taken care of. Right now is not a bad time. You can put in your tube seals. This guy right here came with your head gasket kit. Not a bad time to install these if they want to go in. One of these is not fitting right. Hit it with the rubber mallet. There we go. Move these bolts out of the way because they're not sitting correctly. Never hit anything with aluminum with metal unless you have brass or rubber, because you will bend it and warp it, and that's the end of it. It'll never work the same again. Just a quick pointer for you guys on that. Now that's done. Gonna give myself a small break So I'm going to go off for a moment. I'll be back in a couple minutes. If you guys are going to stay tuned, stay tuned. If not, thanks for watching. I got to get a couple other little things here to finish up. So I got to get some couple tools to get this all taken down. So if you guys want to wait, wait. If not, thanks for watching again. Okay, guys? Alright, I'm back. Ay, 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 ay. So, got my socket and stuff ready. Got a little brush and a parts cleaner. Some other stuff that I might need to get this job done. Oh, I got the wrong side. Be right back. I'm going to take one with me to get the right size. again. Took me a while. Hope you guys like the Mega Man music. I'm a big Mega Man fan. Hey babe, what's going on? Huh? Yes. Huh? Oh, hey Lonzo! Come here, Bubba. Careful, careful. Ah. What'd you do today? Good. You need to listen. No, it's not funny. You need to go inside.
Still crying when you got here.
Go to bed, get some sleep. Be careful. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'll see you later, okay? Good night. Alright, so I'm doing everything by hand. I'm not torquing anything down. I'm using a handle to tighten these bolts down, but actually not going to be torquing them to spec. Because I gotta put tension first on everything to have it go down evenly. Well, while I'm doing this, if you guys have any questions, ask me now. Now's a good time to ask. And what you want to do is you want to alternate sides when you're going down. Because what happens is that you put tension on it, and you're not supposed to be putting tension on it. That way everything goes down nice and even. This one's getting a little difficult to put on and take off, so we're going to back that one out a little bit. That was giving me a problem. Let's see why. is why you gotta do everything by hand and never with a ratchet, because you'll break something. Not cross-threading, it's kind of odd. Just having a problem going in and out. I'm trying to clean that board out. For some reason that's just doing me a headache right now. I brought some card cleaner. Clean that sucker out. Let air out for a little bit. While I work on the other ones. My setup for the bottom end is pretty much stock pistons and IE rods, H-beam rods, designed to hold up to 700 horsepower pretty much. That's my bottom end with Catco coated bearings for rod bearings and stock main bearings for the crank.
I don't know, maybe just let me try.
Since we're only shooting for 350 to 400 horsepower, I don't need to go crazy on high end, really high end like bottom end stuff. Just really good rods and good bearings.
Thank goodness you're here. We have so much to do. I need fire extinguishers.
Hopefully that answers your question.
And be out for regular inspection.
Great. And what about my new hires?
We'll get them into uniforms and keep them looking sharp.
What about this first aid cabinet?
Fully stocked.
It wasn't this morning.
It is now. And so are the restrooms.
Wow, Cintas really seems to know what we need.
You said it.
Oh, I'm ready!
Learn how Cintas can help you get ready for the workday. Visit Cintas.com.
Hey,
Hey, Spotify listener, think you might have a broken bone or you're just not sure? Direct Orthopedic Care, or DOC, can give you answers today. No waiting for a specialist appointment, no wasted time in the ER or the huge ER bill. DOC offers immediate access to the orthopedic specialists you need 7 days a week. From breaks and sprains to tears and strains. Head to toe, from kids to seniors. Anything orthopedic every day of the week. Direct Orthopedic Care, DOC. Specialist skills without the high ER bill. Tap the banner for nearby locations.
Now everything I'm putting down is not torque. I keep repeating myself just because people always ask, you should be torquing that down. I go, nope, not yet. Not until I'm actually done with everything on here, all the way down to the end. And all I'm doing is making sure they're snug. Because the torque specs on these, they go in a very specific pattern. So we want to get to that point. Yes, my rods are rifle drilled for extra lubrication and longer life. Believe me, I made sure I did that to my rods. Very, very important. Way better. Alright, so all the cam bolts are tightened down. Hand tighten. The tensioner right here goes down, hand tight. Start in the middle one first. And then work your way left to right. With even pressure as much as you can, because you need to press that gasket all the way down. And that's it, all hand tight. This one, I haven't put it on yet because we're going to clean this right now. It's pretty filthy as when it comes to like the outside of it. I want this to look pretty, so I'm going to clean it. So what I'm doing here, I got a nice big towel. Got a plastic brush. I'm just going to give her a good scrub on the outside. Do not scrub the inside of this, because it will score a really nice smooth surface. And this stuff evaporates pretty quickly, so do a good job in cleaning as fast as you can. But the head's all put together. I'm going to give you guys the torque specs in a little bit. Once this is actually all cleaned up. Woo, this stuff is strong. Here you want to get as much of the old RTV off, like I mentioned earlier. Because you want to prevent any type of leaks possible. Because this surface right here has to be oiled. Remember, this is the stuff that pretty much survived my fire. If you guys ever watched my very, very, very sad video that I posted when my car caught on fire, the head pretty much survived. As you can see, it looks pretty dang good. So, I'm doing the best I can to clean this. Tomorrow I'm going to go buy a bucket of part cleaner. So I got to soak some pistons in there and some other stuff before I put the block back together. Anybody have any recommendations on where I can go for a good piston compressor, like piston ring compressor? I want to pick up a good one that I can reuse for another build I'm doing. If anybody's listening, it would be helpful. Alright, so the best I can clean it. So, the inside of this requires RTV, and like I explained to you earlier, So I got OEM sealant from my buddy Tim. So we're going to be using that tonight. Once I find it, the box of stuff. There we go. So, here comes the sealant. So, on the Bentley manual, it wants a really thin coat here. 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 So it says lightly coat the area, so we're going to lightly coat this area. OEM RTV. This is like the best stuff you can buy, period, for your car. So that comes with sealant. And I always recommend, if you can't spread it lightly with your hands, then time to replace your sealant. That goes on there, all by hand. You've got 4 bolts to do this. Alright, so now that everything's actually down, we're going to torque this to spec now. And what it means to torque something to spec is to tighten it down to a specific weight. Okay? I know this sounds really newbie, but a lot of you guys are newbies, and it's okay. You know, that's what we're here for on Beach House Garage, to learn this and do this on our own, because sometimes a lot of us can't afford, you know, a job like this. This is a very expensive job. If you had a shop do it for you. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to make your guys' life a lot better. So I hope you guys enjoy what I do. I love the fact that you guys watch me and enjoy what I do. Now we're going to get the torque specs down. Okay, so every single bolt that goes on here goes down to 10 Newton meters, which converts to 7 foot-pounds.
Yo, Adrian. So fluffy.
Okay,
Say hello to my little friend.
so
With
there's
Contour's voice
5.
remote, you don't have to be good. You just have to say it, and your TV finds it.
Hey, son of a nutcracker!
Voice Invisibility as a sponsored job.
The way that I do everything here is I work my way from the middle
That's Indeed.com/stream. Terms, conditions, and quality standards.
all my way out.
Before the holidays, it's the
7.
little things at CVS Pharmacy that help get you ready for the season. Like decadent Ghirardelli chocolates. Now buy one, get one 50% off. And Hallmark
7.
greeting cards for friends and family.
Now, on my
CVS
way
Pharmacy offers so many other little things too. Like a $10 CVS Pharmacy cash card. Yours when you spend $30 on select items, including Progresso soup, now 3 for $4. Head to your neighborhood CVS Pharmacy today and save big on all the little things for everyone on your list.
Opposite. Double check your weight again. Make sure it doesn't lose its tension. Get back. Opposite. Opposite. When you get to the 4 back here, go from the inside out. This one doesn't have to go with the other can caps. This is its own thing. So it doesn't follow the same formula as everything else on here. Double check everything. And then work your way out, back in. Confirm your torque specs. Alright, so that's one. We just finished the exhaust gas side. Now we're going to do the intake side. Same thing, work your way out in, back out. It's going to be a little bit harder because now you got 4 per lobe, or per cap. So, for this setup, you're going to go kind of like in a star pattern. So, like this, and go to the opposite of it. Work your way across. That's done. Go to the next cap. One. Next one over here. while I'm doing this, ask some more questions, guys. That's what the whole point of this session is for, is to ask me what's going on. You know? Maybe I can help you out with a couple questions here. With a couple answers. Don't be afraid to ask. There are no dumb questions. Alright, those are all done. These are the same thing. These are set to 7 foot-pounds. Always start from your way out, in, out, and opposites. You don't want something to sit right. Oh, my back. I'm getting old, guys. So now that I did them all from in, out, we're going to work our way from opposites back into the middle. Okay? So... Wait. Oops, I almost forgot my own rule. There we go. Alright, the head is done. We did all the important stuff on the head. We installed a new chain, a new cam chain tensioner, lubed up all the lifters, lubed up all the lobes. So now we have everything set. If the timing is correct on this, when you put your crank gear on, your cam gear on, it should be at TDC. You're not supposed to install this yet until you get the cam seals on there. But right here, get the valve cover on here, it'd be on TDC right now. Once everything's on, you'll see it. But yeah. So the next thing is cam seals. Yay! I hate these things so much. Alright, where are you, cam seals? I saw you a couple minutes ago. you guys want to be thorough, you can put on your valve cover gasket now. It's safe to put that on now. I mean, you can't really, you can put it on just for the moment, just to get it out of the way, out of your thing, but you have to RTV it later. That will be necessary for the valve cover process. We're not going to get to that till later, because we got to get other things going on there, but I got that on here just to get it out of the way. That's a crankshaft seal. There are my cam seals. I found you. Don't you run away. I found you. Now these guys are a pain in the rear. So they only go on one way. If you know you're doing it the right way, there's two sides to the seal. There's an actual like divot side, like not divot, but there's like a gap on one side and it's flat on the other. Flat side has to face you. And you can't lube these up, guys. You have to go in dry. Once you lube them up, that's it. That's the end of it. So usually, if you can get them in flat, nice and flat, you try to get them in flat. Go. Now the goal is to get it in here as flat as possible. Back in there, bro. Alright. I hate doing these. I don't know where I put my little special tools for these. But there actually is a special tool to install these flawlessly. I just don't have it. Go. Now remember, you have to go all the way down as flat as possible.
My shoulders carry a lot of names. Some I deserve, others I don't. But in the end, only one name really matters.
Well, we got 4 people watching, and I enjoyed that.
Not them.
you know, definitely appreciate everybody watching my YouTube channel and watching what I do. Definitely one of my favorite things to do is to help people out.
Years, the holidays have started with the flavor of McCormick, making memories around the table and bringing families together.
So here's becomes a little bit hard part. On the intake side, they all went in super nice and flush.
The recipes we pass on to the
exhaust
next generation
side, we got a little bit of a problem
there's
there.
really
So we're gonna tap it in.
And that's where you'll find the flavor.
And remember, I'm using rubber, so it doesn't push in really hard. We don't want to damage or score the
You do now. One's for the visual learners. What's in your wallet?
the actual seal. Now we're in nice and tight, nice and flat. That's vital, 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 vital to your cam seal. I have no idea what I'm listening to. Sorry guys, I just started playing random stuff. There we go. Alright, now that the cam seal's on here, and it's pretty dang flush on both sides. It's time to get the crank and the cam gear back on. Now that'll sit. It goes in only one way. It has a key guide. If you guys don't know what a key guide is, key guides are pretty much the idiot way or idiot proof way of installing a gear. See this little guide right here? That's what we call a key guide. And you'll notice there's a round side and a flat side. Flat side always faces towards you. Round side always goes in. Just a good little pointer for you guys. That's in there. Now I got a new bolt for that. I just gotta find it. There it is. Now this is pretty much a forged bolt from ARP. And it's a very special bolt because it's meant to make the cam gear hold better and not vibrate with when you start revving really high and building a high performance motor. So install the gear bolt, make sure you have large washer underneath, the head bolt, and you torque it to 55 foot-pounds using red Loctite. Okay? Red Loctite, very, very specific. You must follow this to a T. So before you install it, before you actually torque it down to spec, make sure it goes on. It goes on nicely. Like right now, I'm already having the problem trying to thread it on. So I'm going to take it off. Look at the washer. So it's been dirty on the inside of this cam bolt or cam gear. So we're going to clean that sucker out. We want to make sure nothing goes in cross threads or gives us an issue with cross threading. So we're going to let that air out for a moment. And then do it again. And now it goes in nicely. Look at that. All the way down by hand. That's what you want. Take it back off. So now we gotta go find some red Loctite. Might have it in my box of crap over here behind me. Alright, I gotta go to my toolbox. I'll be right back. I need some red Loctite. See you guys in a minute. Enjoy some of the MIDI music I play in the background. Well, this sucks, people. I'm all out of red Loctite. So I can't do it. Hey, 5:30 Mexican. What's up, fool? Been a while. Haven't seen you on here in a minute. Welcome, welcome. Honestly, that's it, guys. I don't have any more to do until I finish the block, or I mean start on the block, so I will tell you that I can't do anything else. That's pretty much it. So, like I said before, you're gonna need if you're gonna use the ARP cam bolt, this crazy like super high strength one, you need to use red Loctite, hand thread it all the way in, and torque it down to 55 foot-pounds. All right. I don't have red Loctite, so I can't torque this down anymore. But that's pretty much a whole entire 1.8T head rebuild. I mean head assembly. If you had the work done already at a shop for the other stuff. I don't have anything else for tonight. I'm going to try to get the other tools that I need for getting the block done. You'll see over here. I got the block right behind me. So the block is here. We got all this ready to go. So with this next, we're gonna first do the crank, pistons, rods, assembling, and then we're gonna show you how to do all the accessories. I don't have everything on here yet because the rest of the accessories are actually on the car right now. So we're going to pull that motor out. Once we get this assembled and this assembled, we're going to show you how to mask it and paint it, because we want most of the stuff put on here before we paint, because if we don't, what's going to happen, you can get stuff inside and it can cause some damage. So we don't want any premature damage on this setup. We're going to paint this a nice satin black. The valve cover, intake manifold is all going to be crinkle black. We're going to go back to copper again. I'm going to do copper hoses. We're going to do all that. We're going to show you how to use a pipe bender, maybe a flaring tool. We might do a little bit of cool little customization. If you see on the floor behind me, from Integrated Engineering, thanks to them, Ellie, I got a new, we did steel braided lines for the turbo feed. That's going to sit back here, actually this way. No, I don't know, it's going to sit down here somehow. We got new 90-degree AN fittings for all my new lines, so it's going to be neat. Got this little catch can. This thing's pretty cool. I paid 50 bucks for it. It's a universal full baffle catch can. It's got the little dipstick in here. Pretty neat. You know, tell you your oil level. I like it a lot. Downside of this one, it's not breathable, so we're gonna have to figure out a Y hose setup, or tee it off. I don't know yet. I don't know how we're going to make this one work, but we'll make it work. It's pretty cool. You can take it apart. And this is how you drain it. So it's got a little baffle in here. Pretty good. So we're going to mount this in there, show you how to run this. Downside of this uses AN8 and AN6 fittings. So my AN10 lines don't work. I just ordered the proper AN10 fittings for this. So we're going to make that work with my new lines. We got the turbo feed lines and everything we need for mounting the big turbo soon. Once the head and everything's done, we're going to mount the manifold, mount the turbo, the downpipe and everything, because that all has to go in as one piece. We're going to be doing the oil pan, showing you guys how to make an oil pan gasket. A lot of good stuff coming, guys. Pay attention, because this is all live. I've already filmed all this, but now you guys get to see it live and see. It doesn't take a long time to do it. So as long as you guys got your Bentley guide and your torque specifications, you're safe. Everything's safe. There's no way to F it up, because there's pictures and diagrams for everything. Thanks again, everybody, for watching Pinche Al's Garage. I'm here, I'm Pinche Al. I am having fun and I'm loving this build again. I can't wait to have it done and ready for everybody to enjoy. So I'm going to two-step the shit out of that car. I'm going to show you guys some pulls, burnouts, freaking flames, everything. We're going to do all the fun stuff after the build is done. So thanks again. Peace out. See you guys later.